Yo, what's up guys? RyGo here. We're gonna do a quick first look video on the Pulse. I've actually had quite a few sessions on this kite now, but this is actually also a kite that Chris and I are gonna be keeping in our quiver for the whole year. So I'd like to get out there and just do some more filming with it and go more in depth. But I feel like I'm ready to do at least a first look video and let you know, because this is a kite that people asked about a ton. And last year I only got to demo the first generation Pulse when we were in Morocco. I got like 1 or 2 sessions in some of the worst conditions imaginable, and I didn't feel equipped at all to even speak about that kite. But second generation Pulse, I feel like I know a thing or two, so let's dive into this one. So this is North's crossover big air freestyle kite, which is kind of an interesting thing to do because a lot of times those things are at odds with each other. And what I mean is, with freestyle kites, you're usually looking for explosive pop and slack, so the kites tend to rip you off the water and drop you. Then with big air kites, usually what you're looking for is something that, again, is going to be explosive, but be super lofty and loopy. And where this crosses over is you do lose some of the loftiness, but you get the loopiness. And just for perspective, where this kite sits back to back versus all the other crossover kites, so that means compared to the FX, the Dash, the Dice, it fits in the same box as these kites. And I would say it's kind of between the FX and the Dice. And what I mean is, like, I've done videos where I talk about how the Dice was for sure better in the waves than the FX, and I felt like the FX had some more performance as far as like pure pop and slack unhooked freestyle. So I feel like with the Pulse, it definitely sits between those two kites, because it is a kite that, strangely enough, you can actually get out in the waves. People are foiling with the Pulse, which is kind of odd, but then you're still getting really good pop and slack out of this kite. Like, I would say very similar to a Cabrinha FX, which has been my personal favorite crossover kite since 2016 probably. So very similar in the sense that you're going to get killer unhooked performance out of this kite, but where it stands out is the bar pressure is super light. And this is really unique, because usually you get pretty reasonable bar pressure with a freestyle kite, and I think that might be the kite's strongest pro and strongest con. So as far as like what riders are looking for, it's really nice. I've met a lot of riders, a lot of female riders who are demoing the kite, that were stoked on it because they had a good freestyle kite that was really fun, that wasn't like too hard on the body, because you had super light bar pressure with it. For me personally, I like kites that actually have moderate to heavy bar pressure, because I like to know where the kite is when it's behind me. I like to feel it in my hand. And with the Pulse, it definitely took some getting used to, because the bar pressure was just so light that there were times where I felt like I didn't quite know where the kite was, like mid back roll, mid handle pass, or something like that. But that's a very subjective thing. Some people like it, some people don't. So if you like light bar pressure, you're gonna love the Pulse. Now, coming back to a comparison with the other crossover kites, big air and kite loops, and I feel like the Pulse, it's a bit more do-it-all-y kind of design, which everybody is kind of going towards, because this kite just kills it for jumping in loops. And I've been out on the 9 and the 12, and I was using the smallest bar on the smallest setting, and it is so unbelievably fast. And I mean, I don't know if I've ever been more comfortable throwing loops on a 12-meter kite, or even on the 9, just super fast, really powerful loops. So when you send it and you pull the trigger, I mean, that thing just hucks you forward and it catches you really fast. So it's really confidence inspiring kite for somebody who wants to get out there and throw the biggest loops possible and get a bunch of air, because it's just very built with that in mind. And I think a lot of this probably has to do with Pat Goodman and his experience, because that guy, he's designed some of the best kites out there. So he knew what he was doing going into this, making a kite that was going to loop really well. If you're somebody who's new and wanting to get into loops, There's things that I think you would like about it because it is so fast and confidence building, but it is also pretty aggressive. So maybe like one of the more do-it-all free riding kites might be a better pick if you're somebody who's like new and you want something a little more wild, a little more gradual throw when you pull the bar. But I kind of feel like the Pulse in some ways is almost safer because it's just, I mean, instant, and it's really close to the FX in that sense. You know, I guess we can do a quick little versus there. Things that I like about the FX, I felt like it looped almost as well. I kind of liked it a little bit more for freestyle. I felt like it was a little better with pop and slack, but not that much of a far cry. Like, I mean, like 99% compared to like 100%. So like Pulse is like 99 out of 100, 95 out of 100 with pop and slack. FX, I would say, is like 100 or something like that. And obviously not compared to sea kites, because those kites are going to be significantly better for pop and slack. You just can't touch a sea kite when it comes to freestyle. But when it comes to the throttled freestyle kites, these two particular kites are as good as it possibly gets. So look at the timer here on my GoPro. It looks like I'm at like 6.5 minutes already. I guess I did have a lot to say on the kite, but I will come back and I'll do a full comparison and let you know like what I really think after an entire year spending time on this kite, and we'll give you a complete review then. But in the meantime, if you have any questions on this kite, let me know. Super stoked on it. I feel like it's a really good freestyle crossover kite that has some do-it-all-y DNA, because it's actually reasonably good in the waves, reasonably good on a foil, and kind of kills it for the freestyle. My biggest personal gripe is the light bar pressure. You just, you know, if you're pure freestyle, having some heavier bar pressure, super nice, just knowing where that kite is. And as well, the speed, it's a very, very fast kite, so it is more prone to like accidental loops and things like that. So that's another consideration, is the kite just loops really, really easy. So like I said, freestyle and kite loops, big air, those things are they're kind of at odds with each other. But that's what you're gonna get when you get a kite that mashes together different disciplines and does them on a very high level. You're gonna get some trade-offs and some things like that. Other notes, if you don't know anything about kites like this, is the range. I'll save that for the other review. Watch some of my other videos, or if you want me to like explain it in the comments, I'll explain it. But you know, you get like a slightly reduced range with kites like this, and there's a lot of things that you can expect from this category of kite that remain true with the Pulse. So if you guys found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will catch you next time.